Good afternoon and welcome to CBJ News. I'm Aisha Bashir.
And I'm Suniel Badwel. These are your headlines tonight.
The city's prostitution task force, run by Nottinghamshire Police, has been cracking down on drive and rides by 80%. Award-winning Nottingham chip shop plan to batter competition at the National Fish and Chips Awards. And we're going live for Black Friday outside Nottingham's Victoria Centre.
Now, I'm sure most of you will know that today isn't just any normal end to the week. It is, of course, Black Friday, in which shoppers brave the bedlam in a bid to bag a bargain before Christmas. Our reporter Brad Jones is in the throng of it right now. How's it going, Brad?
Yes, and it's pretty hustle and bustle down here, but I've not grabbed myself a bargain yet though. Now, Black Friday is originally an American tradition which comes after Thanksgiving. It's been adopted here in the UK about a decade ago, and it's become a shopping phenomenon in which people mark the beginning of Christmas. Now, it's been absolutely rammed here in Nottingham. It's been the busiest day of the year for shopping since 2005. Apparently, £7.2 billion across the country will be spent just today alone, but retailers have been worried they will miss out on a pretty penny, with more people preferring to shop online. Earlier we asked shoppers here in Nottingham if they preferred the high street or shopping online.
I just like the experience. I think it's like just get out a bit more than just sat behind a desk all day, a computer. So yeah, I just enjoy getting myself out really.
Because it's a big sale, Black Friday, so it's everything 60% off.
I like to see and touch rather than look at it on a screen and think, oh, that looks all right.
Yeah, I bought for my daughter. His advent calendar is half price.
Now, the Black Friday sales started at midnight last night, but online they've been going on all week. Although some consumer analysts have warned shoppers that some offers are not as good as they seem. So make sure you are checking up on the offers that you're purchasing on this Black Friday. Bradley Jones, CBJ News.
There was a large turnout at the Nottingham Contemporary this week for Transgender Day of Remembrance. The event remembers those who have died because of the hate crimes, but many members of the trans community feel it needs to do more. Dan Quinnell has this report.
The rights of transgender people have come a long way in the past 20 years. For many trans people, they just blend into a crowd, living their lives just as anybody else would. But equality is still far off for trans people in the UK, even just as they walk through the street, go to work, or simply sit and read their phone. The threat of harassment or a more violent crime is always on their mind.
But I ended up having a lot of mental health issues that during my A-levels, my last year of my A-levels was not a good thing. I ended up going from ABB to BEU, but I was a bit of an emotional wreck. I didn't really get my mental health together until about 5 or 6 years later. I ended up crashing out of university, bouncing between relationships, and yeah, it took me a long time to really come to terms. No, not come to terms with the gender stuff, because that was always there, just come to terms with society as a whole.
That was a theme this week for Transgender Day of Remembrance, an annual event which remembers those who have died because of transphobic hate crimes.
Trans power! Trans power!
It was a powerful and emotional event where speakers were encouraged to speak out about the problems they face. Traditionally, a list of names is read of those who have died because of trans violence, but those in Nottingham felt this wasn't enough.
A lot of us in the trans community feel quite ambivalent towards this day. It fails to situate trans deaths within a wider context of systemic transphobia and trans-directed oppression. Trans people in the UK and abroad have disproportionate rates of suicide, but unfortunately deaths due to suicide aren't accounted for in the list of names.
2 in 5 trans people have experienced a hate crime in the past 12 months, and 40% say they dress differently to avoid harassment. But this community coming together was a moment of support and empowerment for those who attended.
It's a real community and it's a real diversity. And I think, certainly from my point of view, coming to an event like this, it just makes me want to do more to actually, to help educate people and to help sort of, you know, to help with the fight against transphobia, really.
There's still a long way to go, but by sticking together, this community hopes to one day achieve equality. Dan Quinnell for CBJ News.
A fifth of the UK population is now living in poverty. Although there's been a rise in food banks, another issue that has been left off the hanger is the need for clothing. One charity in Nottingham is hoping to change that, as KLM Chaplin reports.
A charity based in Arnold providing homeless people, rough sleepers and those with low income free clothing, bedding and shoes. Formed in 2014, Shareware is the only one of its kind in the UK. With over 50 volunteers who help distribute the clothes, the charity has covered the backs of over 4,000 people in the last year.
It began because my son, who was a sixth form student at the time, was volunteering at our local food bank, and he kept coming home saying that families had been asking for free clothing and that there was nowhere to send them. There are lots of smaller projects offering clothing support, but there are no registered charities doing it in the formalised way that we do it on the scale that we do it.
Shareware are welcome to more donations, especially as winter draws near, and the people of Nottingham seemed open to the idea of donating.
Definitely, obviously it's a good cause and there's a lot of stereotypes associated with homelessness, so it's good to actually, you know, veer away from that.
Yes, I would. If I knew where to take it, I'd take most of them to a charity shop.
Yes, I would if I was in a position to give clothes away, especially at this time of year, because it's probably doing somebody a favour and keeping them alive.
But as the charity is based in Arnold, it can be difficult to reach everyone who needs to use the service.
I had like a few tracky bottoms, towels, stuff like that, but you have to get a referral. You know, it's a long way out. I ain't got bus fare to get to Arnold. When I went up there, I had to walk. It took me like an hour and a half to get there. But it is a good thing, but it's too far out of the city. Like, so people ain't really able to access it. It's not doing the good it could do.
So this Christmas, will you take part in the gift of giving in hope to clothe the backs of Nottingham?
People in Nottingham are being urged to get their eyes tested after the city has been identified as having the highest rates of sight loss in the UK. Smoking, obesity and lack of exercise are some of the reasons to blame for avoidable sight loss. There are about 1 million people in the country living with unnecessary vision problems, and experts predict that this figure could rise by a third by 2030. 1 in 10 of us have never had our eyes checked, even though regular testing could help with detecting serious health problems.
The most important thing is that everyone should have their eyes examined every 2 years, regardless of the fact whether they need glasses or not. There are many conditions that can be picked up at the back of the eye. I've picked up brain tumours through a sight test. I've picked up eye cancers as well. So these are the sort of conditions where people don't really think about, but they are at the forefront. Being overweight is bad generally for your health. If you've got high blood pressure, you've got high sugar levels, you're more likely to have complications at the back of the eye.
Marks & Spencer's has said it won't change its window display at a Nottingham branch after it was criticised for being sexist. The retailer received backlash from feminist groups in the city for suggesting women must have fancy little knickers while men need outfits to impress. In a statement, the company said its windows were updated regularly and that any changes made would not be because of pressures from the public.
With payments being a simple tap away, could contactless be the new way forward for public transport? Nottingham City Transport believes so and plan to see trams and buses using contactless payment by April 2020. Nottingham Transport Officer Richard Wellington believes contactless may be the best decision yet.
So yeah, I mean, we think contactless payments going to be a real beneficial thing for public transport in Nottingham, because similarly to sort of smart cards systems, it does speed up boarding onto buses and trams. So that helps with the reliability of bus services. So you haven't got people sort of looking for the right change that can get on the bus, and that helps buses to be reliable and keep to timetable.
Nottingham City Council have voted in favour of providing free sanitary products to schoolgirls. The Labour-run council has said it will also encourage businesses to participate.
Schoolgirls in Nottingham will receive free sanitary products in a bid to end period poverty. This change for women is one of many, as Nottingham Contemporary are also holding an exhibition exploring feminism. This feminist movement highlights Nottingham taking one step closer to equality. The new exhibition references key historic moments in women's history, referring to recent women-led uprisings and demonstrations with over 100 exhibits. Nottingham Contemporary are also hosting discussions, workshops and performances, creating a site for participation and a platform for multiple voices. Nottingham Trent Feminist Society President Katie Ansell visited the exhibition and continues the feminist march to equality by collecting donations for Free Period, a sanitary product campaign to end period poverty.
A lot of our Feminist Society events, we act as a collection point for Free Period, so if people want to donate sanitary products, they can donate them to us and then we'll pass them on to Free Period, who distribute them around homeless people, students and schoolgirls in Nottingham.
The campaign is a huge step forward for Nottingham. Last year, Scotland piloted a similar scheme for £5.2 million.
I think it's a massive difference. When I was at school, I went to a girls' school and there were so many girls who couldn't afford to buy period protection, couldn't afford sanitary products. One of my best friends missed like a week of school every month because she just couldn't afford it, especially because I come from a pretty poor area. So it's really nice now to see that girls in all schools, not just certain schools, will be able to access them for free.
The new idea has also been supported by many across Nottingham.
People don't realise how expensive sanitary products are, and for a lot of, well, girls, young people in the community, like people can't always afford them. For people that maybe aren't so like on well-paid jobs, like they're really expensive. So I think it's really important that they're given out to people that can't access them, because it's just like general hygiene, isn't it? I don't see it as any different as having access to toilet paper or being able to brush your teeth. So I'm proud to say that I'm in the city that has like second best to Bristol. Yeah.
Embarrassed to go like ask for a teacher, but I think by like it being free, it makes it better for me, and I think it's very like inspiring to, and hopefully other places like catch on to it like you guys are doing.
And I think this is a very good thing Nottingham are doing, a step forward in the community. It should be a topic that girls and boys should be able to talk about more freely, and yeah, I think it's a really good step.
And for the second year running, Nottingham Chippy, the cod scallops, will be going for gold at the National Fish and Chip Awards.
The shop's been nominated for Best Restaurant in the UK, so our reporter Callum Carthy has been down to cod scallops to see just how good their food really is.
Chips on the go, fish being battered, and deep fat fryers going to work. Just a few of the standard things you'd expect to see going on at your local chippy. But it's not quite business as usual for this chip shop in Nottingham. The cod scallops on Mansfield Road in Sherwood will be going for gold at the National Fish and Chip Awards. The shop finished second at last year's awards and are hoping to go one further and take home the top prize when the winner is announced in the new year. And the manager at the cod scallops believes they've got all the right ingredients for success.
It's enjoyable, and I think you've got to enjoy it to be successful at something, but it is tough. There's plenty of hard work that goes in behind the scenes, but we've got a good team here, and that makes it a lot easier. We're very big on sustainability, so we're MSC certified, and we try and source sustainable fish wherever we can. We just pay massive attention to the quality and the standards, so we try and make sure that every single fish and chips that goes out is of perfect quality, and we put a lot of effort into staff training as well. So we'd like to concentrate on the service side of it as well as just the food.
I was keen to find out two things. I wanted to know Nick's secret. What makes the perfect fish and chips? I also asked if he was excited for the awards ceremony in the new year.
The fish has got to be the star of the show, so a cracking piece of fish to start with, nice light, fresh batter, and just a nice freshly cooked fluffy chip. It's a fantastic event, so we get off down to London and get our best suits on, and it's a really good evening. But obviously, hopefully this year it'll be better, because we'll come back with a prize rather than going back empty-handed.
So the next stop for these guys here at the Cod Scallops in Nottingham is the National Fish and Chip Awards 2019 in London. It's time for me to have a little taste test and see what all the fuss is about. Callum Carthy, CBJ News.
Prostitution in Nottingham has fallen by more than 80% in the last decade. This comes after curb crawling in the Arboretum area of Nottingham, which has been targeted by a police task force. 1,700 men have been arrested since it began 14 years ago, with some offenders as young as 16. But only 37 of those have been caught trying to pay for sex again.
The women in prostitution are victims, they're being abused very often, they're being coerced. So actually kind of linking them to the people who are controlling them is important. Number of people over the years, most months actually, are taken to court and prosecuted, and we want to give a firm message out that abusing women in Nottingham isn't going to be tolerated.
And here to look forward to the weekend sporting action is Jono. Good afternoon, Jono. What's happening in Notts County? I heard there's some breaking news.
Well, Sonny, at the start of the day, we were expecting a new manager to be unveiled. That was then looked as though it was going to be put back until next week. But since we've been on air, we have had confirmation that the former Wimbledon boss, Neil Ardley, will be Harry Keel's successor. He was the bookies' favourite for the role, and he's now counted 8th boss in 3 years. Caretaker manager Steve Chettle will still take charge of the trip to Morecambe tomorrow, and also Tuesday's game against Carlisle, with the Magpies sat in the League 2 relegation zone. Across the Trent, Nottingham Forest are in home action tomorrow against Hull City, looking to continue their good recent form. The Reds are unbeaten in their last 4 championship games and are just a point outside of the playoff places. Also tomorrow, Mansfield will hope to bounce back from their midweek FA Cup exit as they return to League 2 football away at high-flying Lincoln. In cricket, Nottinghamshire bowler Stuart Broad is set to take to the field tomorrow in Sri Lanka at the same venue where he made his international test debut in 2007. Broad is set to bat in England's 3rd test in Colombo after the visitors ended day 1 with a total of 312 for 7 thanks to Johnny Bairstow's century. On to rugby, and Nottingham Rugby are on the road tomorrow in the Championship as they lock horns with Midlands rivals Coventry at the Butts Park Arena. Kick-off for that is at 3 o'clock, and Nottingham 4th in the league at the moment despite losing their last 2. In ice hockey, Nottingham Panthers are away at Milton Keynes in the first of 2 games against MK this week. Puck drop tomorrow night is at 7, with the reverse fixture at the Motorpoint Arena scheduled for Wednesday at 7:30, and tickets still on sale for that one. That's all your sport for now. A busy sporting weekend to come.
It's time for the weather now with Stacey Potts. Make sure you're listening because it could get chilly this weekend, so you might need to wrap up warm.
With the frosty start this morning, it definitely brought the chilly feel of winter throughout the East Midlands. For most likely a reason why some of us favour knitwear during this season. Now, if you're in the south, expect this evening to be cloudy with chances of light rain, especially in the areas of Nottingham. As for Loughborough and Leicester, slightly on the luckier side, with less cloud, but still a chilly feel to the evening. Expect a minimum of 7 degrees Celsius this evening. Most places will have light winds coming from the east till the early hours of the morning and will continue to carry the clouds throughout the day. Sunday for most of us will unfortunately mean carrying an umbrella as rain is expected to fall from the morning till the evening. It will start to dip in temperature for most areas at the start of next week, so make sure to keep those warm clothes on.
That's all for today's news. Have a good weekend.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.